Oi, hello everyone. We are here once again. I'm gonna be sending here a link to the PowerPoint if anybody would like to connect with the PowerPoint. Eventually, I plan on having a video with the PowerPoint, a short one later. I haven't figured out yet how to have the PowerPoint and the live at the same time. So technology issues I'm having. But eventually, when I figure that out, I will share with you. Okay. So today is the second week of the self healing method, and I want to start by giving ourselves a couple minutes, just a little bit time for us to connect with our greater power. Just be present, be here, because often we are involved in so many things, in so many issues, in problems. We think about what we're going to eat tomorrow, the bills we have to pay. So this is your moment right now, and you need to be present. So I want you to really feel where you're at, where you're sitting, what else there's around you, the light, the smell. I want you to really come to be right now present to this program. Okay. So something I want to remember everybody, that this is a program that was not created by me. I'm not an expert. This is from the book Plenitude by Joanna DeAngelis, and was originally created by Dr. Luzia Matos Arruda. And I'm just kind of translating it to English and putting a little bit of Monica in there. But this program is not mine. I want to remember, if you haven't done yet, please do the activity from last week. Remember, the video is also on this channel, and you have a lot of other resources available. You need to make sure you have a plan in place with a purpose for this program, right? I want you to think about, by the end of the 6 weeks, what you're going to accomplish, right? Because we can't accomplish much if we don't have a plan. So this week, we'll be talking about the second step, which is tuned with a great power. So I welcome you and I congratulate you for winning over everything that tried to stop you from being here with me today, right? Because sometimes there are so many problems and challenges throughout the day. And one of the things that I was wondering today was, if I was going to be present here, it looked like I had so many things throughout my day trying to stop me from being here. But I made it, and I'm grateful for those who also are able to continue through this process. So try not to give up. Change is difficult, and fight the urge to stop improving. So stay connected. Make sure you also come next week and do all the practical exams as activities we are going to be doing here. So we were talking about this week about tuning with a great power. So first of all, I want to make sure I tell you, what does it mean to this source of power. So everybody calls the source of power different names, right? Some people may call God, some people Lord, Abba. Depending on your cultural background, your religion, and your beliefs, it might have different name. That's okay. The name doesn't matter. You may hear me saying God from time to time, just because this is my background. I call my great power God. But whatever name you call your great power, that's this is what is important. Not the name, but that has a meaningful source of power to you. All right. So please forgive me if I say God here or there, because this is how I call my great power. So you make sure you translate whatever I say to your way of seeing your source of power. Okay. Any name you want to give, it's your name. And that will work for you. And that's what is important. So I'm going to start talking about the kind of the distractions that we have in life. So first thing I'm going to tell you about suffering. And, throughout my life, I've been thinking about what is suffering and what is pain. And that really came about to having a great distinction between pain and suffering. Often people think that pain and suffering, they are the same thing. But to me, they are different. So what do I mean? So pain, and I looked at the definition and I kind of adapted to my own definition, but I'll tell you the definition of both. Pain, it's a discomfort caused by illness or injury. And that can be physical pain, can be emotional pain, can be mental pain, right? So pain is pain. It's some kind of discomfort, something that is there bothering you. Suffering is the state of undergoing through distress or hardship because of the pain. Do you see what I mean? So really the pain, it's your friend, even though you may not understand this, but it is. And I talked a little bit about this last week when we did a step 1. I said how important it is to have pain. And that's because pain is a tool that will indicate to you that something is wrong. If you didn't have pain, for example, when you have your hands on top of a fire, if you didn't feel anything, you would burn your hand. So, probably at the end of the day, you would not be alive through many challenges that we have. So now suffering is different. Suffering is your emotion. So let's say that I, for example, have a pain in my arm for a reason. Now I'm looking at this pain and I'm like, oh, life is terrible. I have this huge pain. And I'm like, oh, I really don't deserve this. So this is the suffering part. This is when you are interpreting that pain in a negative way. And the way you experience it make you suffer. So that's the suffering. Can you see the difference between pain and suffering? Pain is the action itself that brings some kind of discomfort. But the interpretation that you have when you have the pain, this is something you can work on. And this week, we're going to talk about connecting with this great power to give you the strength to overcome this challenge, right? And change suffering into learning. Right? Because no matter how challenging it is to have pain, you don't have to suffer. Suffering will not make you closer to the solution, as a matter of fact, right? Suffering is just a consequence. And if you kind of keep feeding the suffering, you may not go anywhere and stay in pain for a long time. So we're all talking about a little bit about language. So in the past, I remember when my son was really young, and he had a lot of issues with asthma. And I remember all the time asking God or the great power, why me? Why so many parents have like perfect children and my son is in the hospital all the time? What did I do wrong to be a victim like this? So I had this victim perspective. And I really suffered for a long time, every day, stressed out, thinking that I was a victim. And poor me, because I didn't deserve that. Why me? But then with time, I kind of started learning. And I changed my perspective. Instead of asking, why me? I start asking, what do I have to learn with this process? See, do you see the language process here? Instead of feeling a victim of the process, I start looking at the the pain and the issue that I was having as an opportunity to grow. And when I did that, I learned. And then my suffering at this point was not a suffering anymore, right? And I'll give you an example. I remember one time that my son was in a very challenging condition, and I had to go to see a doctor. And on the way to a doctor, I had to wait a little bit to be able to see the doctor. And then a man died from a crash, from an accident. And I was there with my son, and I looked there and said, wow, my son is here alive with me. And then what I did, I started praying for that man, that God could take him to his hands and bring him to a good place. So I kind of changed the way I was seeing the problem. Instead seeing, oh my God, I'm there because I'm, a victim and my poor mom with this boy who is suffering, I saw me as, well, I'm having an opportunity to pray for someone who may not have anybody else to pray, particularly who had an accident on the street. People just want to take pictures and record, but nobody's thinking about, praying for the soul of that person who just passed. So do you see what happened? I changed it. Yes, I still had the pain. My son was still in the difficult process of that, but I really changed the way I was looking to the problem and saw that moment as an opportunity to serve somebody else. So I stopped suffering. The pain was there, but I was no longer suffering because I was an instrument in the hands of the great power to maybe bring some light or some goodness to somebody else. So we can always look into the moment and ask why, instead of asking why it's happening to me, you can ask, what can I do with this moment to learn something with the process? So with that, I love this personal responsibility program that OnCourse has. And I will tell you a little bit about it. So what it says is that when we have a stimulus, we have a choice. We have two choices. We can be a victim or a creator. A victim has the following response after a stimulus. The victim starts blaming other people, start complaining, start creating excuses, and start creating this behavior, repeating this behavior over and over again. Something wrong happened to me. I blame others. I complain about the situation. I create excuses for not doing anything about that, and repeat. And what happens is that rarely this person achieves, important goals in life. Because when you become a victim, there's not much you can do about it. However, there's a second option, a second choice when you have a stimulus that doesn't have to be pain. But in this case, we are talking about pain. The person can become a creator. And the response would be like, they will take responsibility for the problem. They would seek solution to the problem. They will take actions. And then keep doing this over and over again. And then achieve their goals. The problem is the same. The stimulus is the same. The pain could be the same. However, the approach you have after you experience the pain can make a difference. And it's your choice. You can suffer or you can become a creator and utilize the pain to grow, produce, or learn something. It depends on you. Now, let's think about the main purpose of this week's, which is tuning with the greater power. And I have here a picture that I took from the internet. If you have a chance to look the video, and I will be posting the video below the below the link below the video. You can access that afterwards, so you can watch the video and look at the PowerPoint if you want. So I have the image of Earth, the sun, and then the moon here in the middle. And the sun, it's there. It's bright and it's sending light and it's sending heat to Earth. But when you look Earth, right here, this side of Earth, right, this side over here, which is facing the sun, it's receiving light. The other side is in the dark. But also here, because the moon is right here in front, there's a part of the sun that is not receiving light because of the moon. And how does it relate to tuning with a greater power? It's important to paying attention to the connections that we have, because the sun is always there. The sun is not moving, it's not hiding. It's like the God or the greater power. The energy, the positivity, and anything that you need is being sent to you right now. Now, you are like Earth. If you were facing the sun, that side will receive the energy and the light and what you need. But the other side that is not tuned to it will not notice that even the sun is there, right? It's like we have the dark night. You don't even know that the sun is there because you're not facing that. So staying tuned is to remain a listener or viewer of the particular channel to which one is currently paying attention. It's important that you focus on what you want to get and look towards it, because the energy coming towards you is there. What is not there, it's your attention to that strong power, to that greater power that is sending you everything that you need right now. So it's important for us to be like a sunflower. The sunflower, and I love this idea of the sunflower, is that the sunflower will turn to the direction of the sun to always get the sun. So what it means is that everything that you need, such as health, happiness, peace, well-being, strength, confidence, courage, love, relief, acceptance, everything you need right now, it's available. All you need to do is tune with the great power. It's like the sun and Earth. The sun is not going anywhere. Earth is the one that's turning to the other direction. But when it's facing the sun, you will feel the sun. And it's the same thing with you. You need to become the sunflower that's always directing to the sun in order to receive this radiation from the great power. Because the radiation is right there in the universe, waiting for you to tune with it. So for this week, we're going to have an activity. You're going to practice tuning, paying attention to the great power, or the name that you call it. You will be ready to receive everything that is available to you in the universe, and it's waiting for you. So how are we going to do this? First, I want to tell you a little bit about the Super Bowl. Have you ever watched the Super Bowl? And I decided to pick the Super Bowl because I know a lot of people love the Super Bowl. So imagine that you have a TV at home, but the TV is off. It's turned off. Are you going to be able to watch the Super Bowl? No. What do you need to do in order to watch the Super Bowl? First, you need to be available at the right time, right? You know the time it's going to come, and you need to be available. You need to turn the TV on, and you need to tune the right channel, Because if entertaining the channel that's cooking food, you're not going to be receiving the Super Bowl. It's going to be the same way with this week's project activity. You're going to have to find a time where you're going to tune. And every day, even if it's for 5 minutes, you're going to find that time. You're going to turn the TV on, which means you're going to turn yourself on to the greater power. And then you're going to be there available to receive. But you can tell me, for example, oh, I talk to God all the time, or to the great power all the time. Wherever you call, you say, oh, I'm always praying. I'm always doing this. Yes, you might be. But let me ask you this. Are you listening? Because you may be asking for things. You may be requesting things. You may be grateful. You're always talking. Are you listening? This is one of the things we really don't do much, is to stop and listen and receive. We are always giving it when we are connecting with the greater power. We are asking, sometimes we are praising, sometimes we are, talking to, we're making requests. But how often are you sitting there and just listening? So you will start your moment with maybe a prayer, whatever way you connect with your greater power, meditation, or breathing, mindfulness, whatever you do to start this connection, you will do. And then I want you just to stop, relax, and listen. You can have questions and concerns right before you listen. You can say everything that is bothering you right now. And you may say, yes, God knows, or the greater power knows what you're going through. And why do you have to say anything? Because do you really know what you need? Because of course, the greater power knows what you need. But sometimes we are not clear about what we need. We need to speak it up. We need to talk. So we are very clear about what it is that we are requesting, what it is that we need, what it is that we are asking. So you can start your tuning moment with a request, telling everything. And if you're angry, if you're upset, if you're sad, let your emotions out, because the greater power already knows what it is that you're going through. So just let it out. If you're angry, be angry. Talk and let it out. But then stop and listen. Stop and listen. 5 minutes. Sit there without saying anything. Just being open and available to anything that comes to you. And you're going to do this every day during this week. It's going to be one of your activities for this week. So after you've done that, you delivered your issue to the great power. But then you're going to trust. You're going to let it go. Once you delivered, you let it go. You're not going to be thinking about that anymore, or not be concerned with it until the next day when you're going to talk again. And then you're going to accept anything that comes to you. You're going to accept that you're going to get the best and what you need at that moment. And then you're going to thank for the opportunity to be experiencing whatever you're experiencing and learning from that moment. So deliver, trust, accept, and thank. Because think about, if you have children, think about your children, and I love that. If you love your children and you're going to do anything you possibly can to help this child, can we imagine a greater power, or God, or the universe, whatever it is, that created you. However, when you do something that your child doesn't like, for example, your child did something wrong and you do something else to correct that behavior, the child's not happy, but you who have a much bigger picture of the problem, you understand why you're doing this with your child. Even though your child may be angry, sad, or, not understand, mad at you, not understanding why you're doing that. But you have a greater purpose. And the same thing with is happening to you at that moment. The greater power has an important purpose. But we are like children. When something upsets us, we don't understand, we get angry. But it doesn't mean whatever we are going through, it's not part of our learning process. So open up and listen to what it is that you need to learn at that moment, so you can actually live a happier moment afterwards. Because once your child learns, there's no purpose for you to keep doing that anymore. And it's the same way. So now, remember, deliver, trust, accept, and thank. And we're going to be closing our conversation today. It's much shorter than last time, but also exciting, I hope. So let's do a little summary of what we talk about today. First, we talk about pain and suffering. Pain is that thing that creates make you uncomfortable. Suffering, it's your behavior towards the problem. It's how you see and how you react emotionally, and then have that feeling that life is terrible. But you can change the pain that you're facing, but you can change how you look at the pain. And instead of asking you why me, you start, what can I learn from this? So you can replace, right? Use the language of success. Instead of being a victim, you can be a creator. And by doing that, you have a habit to change how you address each of those issues in order to solve the problem. Then finally, we ask you to stay tuned. Stay tuned with the greater power and take a moment of your day, every day, at least 5 minutes, to listen. Listen to what it is that you can learn at that time. Because remember, we're like children who are facing, maybe some kind of a challenge, which is an opportunity to improve and grow. And once you grow and you learn, there's no reason for you to keep facing that problem anymore. There's no reason for you to face that pain. Because if the pain is there, this pain is a message. Just stay tuned to listen to help you figure out what you need to learn in order to remove that pain. Finally, once you deliver your request, listen, and then trust, accept whatever comes to you, and thank for the opportunity. I'm also going to ask you to continue doing all the activities from last week, right? So you have to create your purpose for this program. If you haven't done yet, make sure you create a purpose. You know exactly what you're achieving by the end of the 6 weeks. You're going to have your individual project, which is something for you to focus every day, something positive to take your mind out of the pain and help you refocus on something positive. You're going to do meditation and prayer every day. You're going to take a few minutes to do that. And you can incorporate the tuning with the meditation. So you can start with the meditation, ask your question, and then stop and listen. It's your tuning moment. Then you will continue journaling all the good activities and things that made you happy that week, or anything that came from your memory that made you feel good. Make sure those moments that you're not feeling as good, that you go back to your journal and then you look for the tools to make you go back to it. continue having strong connections, positive connections. Once a day, you will connect with someone and or either send a good message. You will send your good energy. You give a hug, you give a kiss, whatever it takes for you to make that connection. And practice your tuning and your listening skills, because the universe, God, the power, the source of power, it's sending right now everything you need. The question is, are you tuning with it? Are you listening it? Are you receiving what you need? Or instead, you are like the earth in its dark side, which is blocking all the energy, the light, and the good things that this power is sending you. And then you're not able to receive. Because for like a rain, the rain is coming down. It's up to you to hold the umbrella. If you're under the umbrella, no matter if the rain is coming, you may not feel the water. You may feel little dips here and there because you're blocking it. But the majority of it, where you can really shower your soul with the love, happiness, and health energy that you need to receive, will be blocked. So this week is your moment to tune with that power, with the energy that is available to you. And then start feeling and listening to what kind of changes you need to go through right now to leave that place where the pain has to be present. Again, this is the end of our week today, of our step 2. Make sure you look down to the comments. I'm going to leave the links for you to have access to other resources. I'm very happy to be here with you. I hope you had a great learning this week. I hope you practice all those things we are talking about here today. And I'm sending you right now my love and the wish that you really get all you need and become successful in your self-healing process. Kisses and kisses. I'll see you next week.